Alright. What's up, everybody? We've got a banging TvT that came highly recommended. This one's from actually a little while ago, but it came highly recommended. I saw a note in my best games Google form, and it was like, oh my god, you gotta cast this game. And then I realized it was me that wrote it, but I can't remember what happened in the game, and I never got around to casting it. So yeah, let's check it out. We got Time in the bottom right. We got Clem in the top left. Obviously, Clem is a very aggressive player. Now, to give you guys backstory on this series, I'm going to be honest. If you're watching this on YouTube, I just cast. This is game 5 of a best of 5 grand finals. The reason we're not casting the rest is because I just cast them live on my stream. And it was some of the most boring shit TvT you've never seen in your life. You might be like, oh, I want to watch the rest of the series, but you don't. I literally, this is the sort of goddamn tailored content that you get on YouTube. My Twitch audience, on the other hand, just took one for the team. They just watched 4 of the most boring TvTs in the world. Well, 3 of them anyway. The first 3 were like literally both sides playing mega macro, and then one side would attack and just catch the other guy out of position, interference matrix attacks and tanks, and just win the game after like 13 minutes of nothing but macro. It was appalling. Now, in the last game, Clem finally was like, screw this, and he ended up just doing a big Marauder Hellion drop. And now we find ourselves in game 5, and both players have said, hey, we kind of suck at macroing and then defending attacks. Maybe we should go back to being aggressive, says Mr. Clem. Time, on the other hand, he's trying to play very defensive, no scouting. He doesn't realize this is a 2 Rax Reaper opening out of Clem, who's gone 2 Rax Reaper into factory. He's going to have a super late command center buying this, that SCV waiting for them the minerals. And Time is just like, yeah, we'll just be super safe and responsible. Reaper's here, this SCV runs in, and Clem's like, okay, I really don't want to show my units. He sees the command center on the high ground. So what he wants to do, guys, he wants this SCV to pull the enemy units out of position. Notice they're hiding, though. And Clem's like, dude, where are your units right now? Clem's like, are your units on the other side of the map? And Time hides him to the last second. I think Time was hoping to bait him into jumping up the cliff or something like that. A cute little dance. A very cute little dance. Big thank you for the subs, guys, out there in Chatland. Give you guys some big props after the game. Big thank you, though, for the love and the support. Command Center's on the way now. Clem has found nothing, guys. Absolutely nothing. He's lost an SCV. Time did a super responsible, safe opening here. He's hoping for the overly aggressive Clem to jump in, and Clem is still building Reapers. Oh my god, guys. He's going to go 7 Reapers? Oh my lord. 8 Reapers? Is he going to build number 9? 9 Reapers? 9 Reapers? 9 Reapers? Come on, be a crazy lad. You're already in deep. Why back off now? Okay, he runs in and gets 2 SCVs trying to take the gas on the natural. And he's stopped. He's going to build add-ons now. Okay, Clem is not going completely insane. But right now, guys, Clem is so aggressive. But as long as Time sits on the high ground, waits for the Cyclone, his army's just better. So Clem is like, oh my god, I just spent 400 gas on Reapers. That could have been 2 Ravens. Instead, it's like I'm literally massing early game scouting and harassment units, which have a very narrow window of efficacy. This is, yeah. Oh, he's going to go for it. Okay, the Cyclone's there. As long as you don't get hit by the grenades, and the zoning grenades of Time, stopping him from closing in. Very nicely done. Didn't lose any units, though. But Time's got to be careful. That's a lot of Reapers, man. One of the Reapers does go down. The thing is, you might think Cyclones counter these, and they do, but that's enough Reaper Hellion. If they can bounce your units, they can just like 2-shot that Cyclone. Cyclones are pretty fragile. They do have 1 armor. Does help a lot against the Reapers. Brings it down to 2 4 damage attacks to 3 damage attacks. 8 to 6. A pretty sizable drop on their damage output against anything that has even a single base armor. That Hellion's very exposed. And he gets a snipe, pulls back. Does lose a Reaper for it, but I think that's an okay trade as the 3rd command center goes down on the high ground. Raven production on the way. A Cyclone is out now. Tanks. On the other hand, Tank comes out for Time. Time is up on 4 gases. He's been building tanks and Ravens for days, but it does massively delay your 3rd command center. To go 4 gases this early, that tells me that Time wants to do some sort of counter push, but against this number of Reaper Hellion, it might be a little hard because moving into Reaper Hellion like that, their grenades can get massive value. Stim is on the way. The 2nd and the 3rd barracks coming on down. Remember, guys, Time, no infrastructure, guys. No 3rd CC, no 2nd barracks. He's going to swap his buildings around and just keep up production. Time's all in. I say all in, and that is like literally the most knee-jerk, terrible usage of all in. He's not all in. He's very committed, guys, to doing damage with this army. Because his 3rd command center is so far behind, he isn't building extra barracks or eBays yet. Time really does need to find some value with this army that he's committing to. And look at this. This is not bad. Anytime you can get a building SCV, it's twice as annoying especially for low-level Terrans, but even for a guy like Clem, losing a bit of barracks build time is annoying. And, oh, Time doesn't finish focus firing that, but the grenade gets it. Okay, 3 SCVs, not too bad, forces the army back. Time's going to build a third CC. I would have liked to see him build that on location because he's so far behind on it. It's like, dude, this push is massively committed, but look at the army value. He's up 5 to 10 army value. He's got a much better force. He's got an extra Raven. He's got an extra tank. He's got a good army out. Hellion for Hellion, both sides lose one of their Bernie cars. Time's going to do a bit of a scanny scan. He says, you want to fight? Dude, I'm happy to fight you, bro. But, ooh, okay, his scan does allow him to win that trade. The Cyclone of Clem got the lock-on on his Cyclone, but Clem did not have the scan to maintain that. Now Time shoving on forward, still no second and third barracks. Check it out, guys. His second and third barracks is about to go down. There's already 2 reactors up for Clem. Clem's production is through the moon. Now, Clem has not been able to start his 1-1 upgrades yet, but the engineering bays haven't even started for Time either. So this is still a massive advantage for Clem. The longer this goes, Time's getting value. Clem's going around. Oh my god, Clem. This is the most dangerous. Who sends their whole army around? He kind of just assumes that Time is not going to push in and he's just going to try and soft contain him. But Time's going to scan and go, wait, where the shit is your army, you greedy shitbag? Clem tries to go for a flank. What the hell, Clem? Clem! Oh my god. Clem, seriously, what the hell? Dude, someone's been eating that horny goat weed. He comes in from every single side. Double matrix on the back. SCVs. Massive clump on the SCVs. I mean, he's going to clear this army out very efficiently, army to army. But dude, he just lost 22 SCVs. And the Vikings survive, kill all of his air units. And they could even land up here and kill a reactor. He's like, oh, you're going to counterattack me? Yeah, land, kill reactor, kill SCVs. Meanwhile, Time is like, oh god, oh god, oh god, I just killed so many SCVs, I need to survive. So Time is trying to frantically gather up defense. His Vikings are going to try to go home. Clem's Cyclone is there, though. He's going to get rid of one of those Vikings. That is not high ground vision there. One of the Vikings goes down. The Vikings still looking for the counterattack. There are Marines in the main. Those Vikings probably need to head back. Anything to try and hang on at home. Time is like, I have 1 tank and 3 Vikings. Ooh, this is some real... I mean, that Virgin Siege tank quaking in his boots right now. 4 big angry siege tanks and a bunch of drugged up Marines here ready to inject their next dose, get those finger triggers. They are already itching, right? Oh, give me some stims, give me some stims. The Vikings do land on the other side. It looks like they all went down. I don't think they killed much here. It looks like they all went down just for a distraction. I'm surprised Clem didn't push in there, but I think he's just respecting the power of the Viking land, and also the SCV pull is very scary. Now Time's kind of pushing forward here. And is Time in range? Oh, just barely not. Okay, Clem has a bit of contain up. Clem does have the 3rd command center up, and he's rebuilding SCVs. He's still down 19 workers in this game. So, 1-1 upgrades finishing for Clem, but he doesn't have the money to build an armory or 2-2. So, the upgrades will easily be catching up over the next minute and a half here for Time. Time is still a little behind on the army. He's got 2 less tanks, 8 less Marines, but he's got that area control, 5 Vikings, and Mrs. Liberator. Remember, just whenever you think you can push in with superior tank count, if they have the Viking advantage and a Liberator, Liberator says, freedom! Who wants their freedom? And remember, guys, if anyone's ever got you in their crosshairs while in a gigantic spaceship that shoots lasers at you, and they're yelling freedom at you, run the other way. You are not on the good side of this sort of Terran colonialism. You are not on the good side of it, trust me. This is not a place you want to be hanging out. It's a very scary place, in fact. Now, the threat of the drop in the main is forcing Time's Vikings to kind of hang out there. But look at this. This Liberators are slowly pushing back, but Time's like, yep, cool. Yep. I mean, I know I can't hold this ground forever, but I can delay you landing the 3rd for a solid minute or 2 just with this tank shuffle. Just being such an annoying dickhead is Clem, and that's what he should be doing. He's caught up the SCVs mostly. The Marines are still stimming around looking for the Liberator. Clem's already out of there. Oh, that's too close? No, just out of range. Oh, he's so annoying. Clem! Oh, he's so annoying. Guys, I would be so tilted if I was Time right now. And look at that. Those tanks even pick off one of his tanks there. And look at that. Takes a single lib shot, but he's like, hey, I'm still siege. You can't land that. You can't land that command center. One of these libs should probably be sieging the other angle. Clem looks like he wants to just stim in from both sides at once. He wants Time to get impatient, unsiege a few too many tanks, and then he can just stim in from both sides. Clem is ready to pounce right now. Oh, it's like when you see your pet cat in the yard crawling through the grass. It's like, you know, its hackles are up and everything, and it's like, ooh, and it sees a pigeon, and you know you're about to have a bloody dead city bird just kind of dropped on your bloody door, and it's going to go, look at me, I just killed it. That's Clem right now. Clem's about to kill a Terran player if he gets any opportunity. But Time He's like, no, no, no. No, 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 no. Does not expose himself to risk. And Clem says, okay, not a good idea. Unless I can catch him off guard. 2-2 is on the way. Third base there. He's got a gas there as well. Double drop going down the bottom side as well. Okay, that's a good idea. There are 3 turrets there, though, but he can get past that. I think he can get past that without losing a single medevac if he saves the boost. Unfortunately, his damaged medevac's up front. He wants to shuffle that. If he shuffles that, he'll be okay. Otherwise, he definitely loses the front medevac. Oh, he's definitely losing the front medevac. Oh, no. Ow, 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 ow. And there's a tank there, which will take out a few of them as well. He does get in range of that, but a quick reaction by Time, and Clem's Marines, they get a tank and a few SCVs. Remember, this was a double drop that he's 100% lost for this, though. So a tank, a few SCVs, not that great. Oh, he's going to get 9 SCVs. Time! Time! Wake up, Time! Oh my god, I mean, your drills might be powerful, but these Marines have tasted stronger drills than that before, mate. 10 SCVs going down. A little sloppy there from Time in the tail end of that. Both sides are now tied on workers. 4th command center is on the way for Clem. Both sides are on pretty darn good production. 5 racks, 1 factory, 1 starport. 2-2 upgrades not done for either sides. Clem's will be done in 20 seconds, so Clem might want to look for that engagement at that stage. He's down on Marines, but he's got twice as many tanks. So Time's the one who could absolutely crush a fight if he catches them unsieged, because he's got more Marines. Clem, on the other hand, if it's sieged versus sieged, obviously Clem's tank superiority will reign supreme. Cyclone is out front. I like the army split from Clem here. He says, you've got Viking lib advantage, but I've got mobility. The thing is, it's dangerous. It's very dangerous. Oh, he sieges 1 tank far forward. The Marines for Time come forward. They eat some pretty big tank volleys. This is going to turn into a death zone. Time! Oh my god, very brave maneuver to push forward. Was it worth it? I don't actually know. Tanks are still in the middle for Time, holding him back. Clem says, drop on his face! YOLO! He gets 1 tank with friendly fire. He drops about 6 Marines in there. Gets some pretty good friendly fire shots off. Does get one of those medevacs out of there with a handful of Marines alive. 4th command center floating out. Time is the one who's been on the defensive for a bit, and he's only now got that 4th command center coming in, but +3 attack is on the way. The upgrades have tied up. 2nd factory building for him as well, and he can put that, of course, on that tech lab. The classic Terran maneuver of swapping that tech lab barracks off once you've got stim and shields, building a 5th reactor, and getting that tech lab to find new use. Big pickup, and he goes, yep, let's doom drop in the scan range. Of course, he's going to unload. Guys, this is what you do as a pro. If they ever scan you doing a big boosty, you just drop outside of vision, and you immediately walk back to where you were, and the other player is forced to split units off to intercept. And if you're not playing super pro players, sometimes you can then just jump on them where they were, because you know he's split like 30 Marines off to match your 30 Marines. So that's actually a really cool way. Look at this. Bait and switch. He says, let's move to the other side. Let's do it. Tank on the high ground. I love this tank on the high ground. That's such a nuisance to deal with. And he's just going to go for it. Time! Coming in from 2 sides. The Marines arcing around those 3 tanks in the back and a big Marine flank from the right. Both sides are having one of their flanks crumbling. That Marine drop is going to be pretty powerful on top of this. Ooh, the Viking land as well. If Time can clear all the tanks, this might be worth it. But if he doesn't kill all the tanks, then I think that was a win for Clem. Clem coming out on top there, gets a few of these medevacs on the way out. There are still some tanks out on that left side. He's still got some tanks on the high ground. Time goes for a little bit of a YOLO maneuver, an opportunistic dive. And in the end of it, Clem is the one with the 4th base. Equal workers on both sides. 4th command center is moving out. Clem, though, he has 3-3 and +2 vehicle weapons. Time does, Time has those upgrades. Clem has +1 vehicle weapons, but no other upgrades making. So Clem right now is in a bit of a better position, but is that really going to last? I don't think so. I think Time's upgrades are going to pay off in a huge way. So as long as he gathers his forces, I mean, what are the numbers? Time's still ahead on tanks. Time's only down slightly on Marines. And to me, it feels like the point in the game where you're both broke enough that you should only be building Marines, tanks, and medevacs, because you don't really have enough money to afford a proper Viking transition. Clem apparently disagrees with me and says, let's go Ravens on what is a really shit economy. I mean, this is going to be, he's going to limp his way to the ultimate tech unit of the matchup. And don't get me wrong, there's always a way that can work. If you're making the most efficient unit in the matchup, it can absolutely work. I just look at his money and I go, yeah, but like what? What are you going to get? Like 3 Ravens out? Like it's still a bit until he can do that. He kind of needs that 5th base established. It's almost like he's setting up for several minutes in the future. And that is, of course, at least he's getting his 3-3 upgrades and kind of keeping that going. I think Time is a little bit more focused on the here and the now, though. This map could go either way, and this is definitely, I think, the cherry on top of the cake of this series. The series had some pretty one-sided games earlier on, but this match here is a banger. It's a very exciting match that could go either way, and Clem, get out of there, bro. Time gonna find some easy pickings. Few SCVs and buildings. No chance to cancel these. One refinery gets canceled because Clem is super freaking quick. Two Marines here having a bit of a battle. The Marine spotter fight. For those who don't know, sometimes you end up sending one Marine everywhere. So your opponent sends 2 Marines. And then because they send 2 Marines, you send 3 Marines. Little squads of 3 Marines to clear them out and win the fights. And then they send 4 Marines and you're like, F it. And you just send a full 8 Marines and a medevac. And then they send 2 Marines and a medevac. And it just escalates. This is the TvT Marine spotter war for map vision. Oh, Time just is like, wait a second. You've only got 1 tank here? I mean, Clem quickly repositions 4 tanks. That was a sick lift on the tanks, but these command centers are very exposed, mate. Very exposed. Oh no, Time bleeding into this a little bit. He gets rid of 2 command centers. And honestly, if he had a medevac, he could just put a tank or 2 up here and get so much damage on this base. Even here, these Marines could be standing in that position, but Clem's gonna be allowed to move forward and defend this. Time finds an opening, but does get a bit over-eager capitalizing on it. Loses quite a few units to that tank fire. 3-3 upgrades are about to tie up. Ravens are now on the way for Clem, and Clem can indeed secure a 5th base. He's going to feel very happy about that. He doesn't have many tanks down here on this side. Time starting to siege these tanks forward. Remember, they are quite damaged. I like that Clem has tanks in the medevac. That's his QRF right there. His quick reaction force is the 2 tanks in the medevac. So the cool thing about Clem is he sometimes just picks those up reactively and instantly gets out there, something most players can't really do on the fly very quickly when they're panicking. But Clem, he did it even with a double medevac 4 tank reinforce over to that side before and saved his bacon, reinforced that position before Time could get the deep siege. Ravens are on the way. Time did not think we were getting to that point. Time followed my layman's advice, right? He was like on my level where he's like, yeah, we're too poor to make Ravens, right? Just Marines, tanks, medevacs, Marines, tanks, medevacs. But now Clem's managed to slow the game down and I kind of go, oh shit. Time, you need to take a 5th, a 6th base, build some more SCVs, and start thinking about that Raven transition yourself. And he is indeed doing the Raven transition, but he does need another command center and a few more SCVs, I think, because he's in a very fragile spot right now. Oh no, Time's medevacs get caught out. Vikings snag 1 of those. Marines in the top looking good. Time still has a big row of tanks down here. 16 tanks on the map, but Clem could have jumped on that. He could interference matrix and kill all these 5 tanks on their own. They're a bit too far out on their own. Time, having his tanks undefended, this is a very dangerous maneuver. If Clem realizes exactly what's happening there, he will punish it. Time, this is a crazy push. Even a Marine flank and some matrixes on this side will destroy. Time is being so dangerous. But you know what? Clem has not realized what's happening, and now as Marines come down the bottom, it looks like he's okay. 3 interference matrices up the guts. He's going to move through this middle area is Clem. He's going to try and take out these tanks. And 1 more tank does fire from the rear. In the rear with the gear. Unfortunately, the power of Cuck Matrix is a bit too strong. For those who don't know, the lore on how that works basically is the Raven. It actually has a loudspeaker on it, and it says, you're a cuck, you can't fight good. And the unit loses all confidence, and they can no longer fight. But Time comes in with a big spready, a 180-degree arc of savagery. Marines, tanks coming in from 2 sides. The tanks in the choke point do okay. Time pulls back some of his Marines. Time does defend that army for now, but look at this, guys. As I said, tanks in the open were always going to be in a bit of problem, man. They were always going to have a little bit of a problem because they're just not defended by anything, and a lot of those tanks do go down. If a few Vikings landed, a few more of the tanks could have gone down as well. Time tries to punish, but Clem's tank line is deep and thick, and this man knows how to survive. Clem is keeping his supply high and steady, and Time, on the other hand, he's let his economy get a little bit low and loose here. And just like Eugene's, guys, you want to keep your economy high and tight. Clem, you might think the SCV count not that high, but keep in mind, he's adding more orbitals. He's on 4 orbitals. He's got a 5th about to finish. He's got a extra command center landing in the top. So Time, the longer this game goes, the more it becomes a Raven Viking battle. I think right now he's trying to do it with Marine tank and kind of force the issue. He's got to add SCVs, add Ravens, add Vikings, but he's so far behind on the Viking count, he feels like he can't do it. He gets 2 or 3 Vikings there. That was kind of nice. But look at this count, guys. 13 Vikings, 7 Ravens for Clem, 4 Vikings, 2 Ravens for Time. Time is like, oh man, and he's still so heavy on tanks. But if you don't have air control, your tanks are nowhere near as useful because it's the Vikings that give you vision. They zone out the enemy air units. They have a really good time kicking ass with that one. Planetary in the top is there. A few tanks, the turrets out front, the sensor tower. All this stuff's pretty good, but because these tanks are out front, Time can easy dive this. Yeah, double matrix. He's got it. Nicely done. That planetary will not be getting up unless the other units get here in time. Gets a bunch of tanks, sensor tower turrets. Oh, he's going for the command center. Mass repair is there, though. Well done by Clem. Barely saves it. Gets a few of the Marines. Still a good trade, I think, for Time, but Time probably should have just A-moved and gone for the SCVs. Hindsight's 2020, of course. If he'd got the command center, it would have been well worth it. Auto turret comes in. Clem's like, hey, value, value, value. The value crew's here. We'd like some free units to kill. Oh no, I had to spend energy that's going to instantly regenerate. And that unit's lost 3,000 or 2,000 in the lead for Clem. It's going to get better and better for him as time goes on. Now you could play, just don't even contest the Vikings. That's an option for Time. And just try to fight where the Vikings aren't, like he was doing, you know, like this. Interference matrix, stim in. This is a great push angle. Clem realizing he's effed up. Oh no, Clem's gonna lose the base. He has to counter push. He has to counter push Time. You gotta realize what's happening right now. He's gonna counter push you. This is a base trade. This is gonna go the way of the base trade. Time has a massive edge in this though. I mean, Clem does have some tanks on the high ground. If he sieges those, he could do some stuff. Interference matrices make it so easy. Even for a delayed Clem to bust through the positions, though, it's really hard. Time's going to come home and sanger this army. He's going to try and trap it in a bit of a sandwich. The Marines stim in and get 3-4 of these tanks from behind. He's going to come in from both sides, but the auto turret spam, plus the tank siege. Clem says, you shall not pass, and he plants his goddamn Gandalf Raven wizard staff in the ground. And I tell you, Time tried to crack that Balrog whip with a lovely attack from two sides with mass Marines, but Clem just got an impenetrable wall of turrets on both sides, interference matrices, anti-armor missiles, and there was just so much Raven energy in there. You've got to account for how much better value Clem had built in his army during the previous 5-6 minutes. Remember, I said, hey, going straight for late game unit, the Raven, is kind of dangerous and crazy. Doing that on 58 SCVs, 130 supply for Clem, bit crazy, but he got away with it. Time did not punish him in that window, and Time was just so far behind on the Raven energy, and that Raven energy represents so much more than what its supply shows up as. The way a Roach sucks in a fight for its supply cost, a Raven is often worth 2, 3, 4 times its supply cost, and we saw it in that fight. If you let those Ravens gather up energy, a 2 supply Raven can drop 4 auto turrets. Think about that for a moment, guys. Each auto turret has 150 hit points. It does as much damage as 3 Marines. So a 2 supply unit is going to be dropping 12 Marines in a combat. So it's literally 6 times more efficient than its supply in that scenario. Same thing if it interference matrixes 2 Thors or 2 battle cruisers. 6 times supply efficiency. Yes, only for a short 9-10 second battle, but that's all you need. It's StarCraft 2. The battles are fast and savage, especially in TvT. And that's why Clem, dude, the Ravens, the fact that they're still alive, you might be like, but guys, time defended. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The Ravens survived. As long as the Ravens are alive, that's like having 2 extra bases mining for Clem. And finding this base is absolutely massive. The value those Ravens are giving, I mean, I used to always give this analogy back in Wings of Liberty when I was first kind of coming up the ranks and learning the game is, guys, if you have a pack of Infestors, I think it was maybe Artosis who was the first one who described it this way, but I always held it true, is if you have a pack of really valuable spellcasters like Infestors gathering energy, it's like having an extra base mining resources. Just that energy and the value that's inevitably going to give you, as long as you use that spellcaster correctly, it's like having an extra base or 2 mining. It's massive, and you don't need as much income. Time does get another base kill up there, though. It's got 8 SCVs, and I mean, he's still got a massive Marine advantage. There is still the option of Marines catching the Ravens. They don't land the spells, and they kill him. So I think Time's doing a really good job with a little. He's got very little income. Needs to keep floating these command centers out, but he's already floated out his main and natural and lost them. And that's why right now, 3 orbiters for Clem, only 1 for Time. Some big tank volleys do go down on his Marines. The army comes back for Clem here. Clem's still having a massive Viking count. 19, way too many Vikings to be fair for this scenario. But he's got 14 tanks versus 10 as well. His tanks do want to siege up. You can see here, Time trying... Oh, he's going to take a big volley. Oh, big tank volley on the broadside of that army. Lots of Marines going down. Time is like, it's fine. As long as I get this base, it's all good. But will he actually get that base? Trying to morph an orbital in the face of that army. Clem doing brave Clem things. The planetary is about to face off against mass Marine, but with the repair, there's no way that works out. There's a Liberator there for Clem as well. Time just cannot get in range. He's taken too many tank volleys. And a beautiful transition into Ravens from a very dangerous position. But the longer that game went, the better it was getting for Clem. Let's watch that fight one more time. And I want to point out that as cool as it was, what Clem time did, and I do think there's scenarios where that works out, it wasn't gonna do it there, was it? So what was that? 23 minutes or something like that? Yeah, here it is. So guys, you got to look at this. A lot of the Marines are massively overstimmed in this fight, and his army's really spread out, so he's not engaging all at once. It's not a perfect spread. But then you've also got to take into account the 10 Ravens with so much energy across them. Some of them are light, but he's got so much energy on these Ravens, and he's already up 15 army supply, or 14 army supply. So a 14 army supply lead for Clem. You've got overly damaged Marines coming in the front. And just check out what happens with these Ravens, man. So, he throws an anti-armor missile, a couple of them, and he just sprays turrets. And already, these Marines now have to get through 150 hit points and 1 armor. 300, 450, 600, 750, 900. Soon to be 1,050 hit points. Plus, remember, they each do as much damage as 3 Marines. So these auto turrets protect these tanks so well. And he just keeps throwing them down. He lands interference matrices on the flanking tanks on the right. Absolutely smashing. GG. Well played, Clem.